Hi, welcome to Bright Hope Creations. I'm Kara, and today we're gathering up lots of lawn fawn images and making our way to Candyland. I'll be using Year 7, Tiny Christmas, Fairy Friends, Fox Costumes Before and Afters, All the Clouds, Dad Plus Me, Unicorn Picnic, Thanks a Latte, Happy Village, Village Shops, Life is Good, Swan Soiree, Yeti or Not, Trees Before and After, A Creature Was Stirring, and the Slide On Over Maze, Your Sweet Line Border, and the Little Gingerbread from Build a House Gingerbread Add-on. I'll start by making the squares of the trail. I cut the top layer with the Slide On Over Maze, and I'm going to make the squares underneath, so I'm tracing out where those lines of the maze are so that I can put my colors sort of in the right place. I looked at the Candyland board online and got ideas for what colors I wanted to make those squares. I'm not being too careful, but I want them to be about the same width as the maze lines themselves. There are lots of editions of the Candyland board, so I kind of took ideas from all of them and a little artistic license as well. Here it is with the maze over the top, and you can see it looks like squares, and then here it is all completed. So now that we have the trail done, I'm going to work on it's a sentiment, but it's also reflecting the title of the game. In one of the editions, and kind of the one I'm most familiar with, the one I grew up with, the title was in the center of the game, so that's where we're going to put ours today. This is Sweet from Your Sweet Line Border, and it fits nicely into the center. I used an RV 52 and 55 to make the stripes that reflect the stripes on the title, and the rest of the sentiment I will stamp directly on the board. I have lots of images in the Misty, and I'm inking them up with jet black ink, and I'm going to color them with Copic markers. I'm stamping many of the images several times, just filling up the white spaces on my paper. So some of the images will be die cut and added to the game board, and some will be stamped directly on the game board. All right, well, we're starting with Queen Frostine, and she's kind of she's frosting, I guess. She's the Queen of Frosting, and she is kind of an icy blue color, and so I'm giving her some B0002 and a quadruple 0 to blend it out. She'll have white hair, but it will be shaded with the blue and a little bit with gray. So this is a cool gray 0, just to give her a little bit of shading there. She's going to stay pretty light though. Some of the later editions of the game have lots of characters on the board. I think there's even a Grandma Nut. But she's going to be our only candy character. There will be kids, but she's their candy character. And so there's a lot of variety with those boards. I remember it in the 70s, but I guess that it was created in the 1940s by Eleanor Abbott while she was hospitalized with polio. She was looking for something that the kids could do while they were hospitalized. Lawn fawn sets work great together as well as on their own, and sometimes it's fun to recreate a favorite song or movie or game like this one, something that brings back fun memories you share with someone who will receive your card. All right, these are clouds for the frosting. They're frosting clouds, and they come from Unicorn Picnic. Many of the sets I showed you at the beginning of the video, I only used 1 or 2 images from the set. And really, there are a variety I could choose from, so if you don't have these sets, there's plenty. It seems like someone at Lawn Fawn must have a sweet tooth, because I found lots of candy images I could use, but even non-candy items can be turned into some sort of sugar. I'm going to highlight a few of the images for coloring today, not all of the images. Some of them are pretty simple to color. This is the peanut brittle house, and I'm starting with an E11. This is going to just be kind of layers like peanut brittle, I guess. I'm going right in with some darker colors. So here's the E19 and getting those striations in there, and then also just darkening up some of the things, like it'll be brown inside the house. And I'm going to continue adding texture with the E15, just making little horizontal lines and then blend it together with the E11. This is Candy Castle. And one way I found images that I wanted on this card was I went to the Lawn Fawn shop and put in the search castle, and then everything that had a castle in it showed up, and I could say, oh, I have that one. This comes from the stamp set Life is Good, and it's actually a sand castle, but Candy Castle in our case. So I'm using some BV, blue violet colors here for a castle, and just adding some bricks, keeping it rather white. And I'm not going to color those turrets at all, I mean the tops of the turrets, because those pink whipped creams are going to take their place. Queen Frostine has a snowflake wand, and now everything's pretty much colored, and I can cut them out with the coordinating dies. And I don't want to forget the kids. So these two kids from Tiny Christmas are going to be the kids that are at the bottom left of the game board, and they have also changed through the years, but I'm taking the ones that have little jean overalls on and striped shirts. So I'm just making overalls and just little lines for their striped shirts using a Copic multi-liner, and then I colored those in. Jeans are in the B90s, so B91. This is a B97. Just wanted something really dark because it's a small space, and I just wanted a bit of a shadow. Give them some little brown shoes. They're little leather Buster Browns, and then color in those red stripes. And now these two are going to be cut out with the coordinating dies. And then I'm going to stamp some more on the game board or my panel as well. Those were the mountains from Dad Plus Me, and this is from Swan Soiree. It's the pond, which will now be our molasses swamp. All right, some of the lollipops I'm going to stamp directly onto the game board, so they'll be behind the other lollipops. And these lollipops are from Year 7, which is the one with the piñata, and the lollipops that are cut are from Fox Costumes Before and After. All right, these little peppermints that I'm making are also from Year 7. They are actually together with the lollipops and another piece of candy, but I cut them apart. I don't know if I would do that because the die that cuts the three out together actually separates them. So I probably should have left them and just cut them all out. They are easy enough to piece back together, so it's really not a problem. All right, well, now it's time to add some details to the board. And this you are, it comes from Unicorn Picnic, and I'm stamping it in Plastic Flamingo. The mountains were stamped with jellyfish ink so that I could make them all different colors, and they are the Gumdrop Mountains. I know there's a lot going on here. There's things to go on the board, things under the board, things directly on the board. They're not necessarily going in any order, but it'll all come together in the end. You'll see. Now for the Gumdrop Mountains, I just put on one layer of a lighter color, and I'm just going to shade it a bit with a darker one and put in a little texture, some sugar with little dots. Blend some of it together, but then come back and really add more dots to make it look like gumdrops. I'm ink blending a little bit with ballet slippers to give Queen Frostine a background there, and realized it's kind of a peachy pink, and I really wanted it more pink than that, so put a little plastic flamingo on there as well. There are a lot of little scenes in Candyland, so adding in the ink to the panel helps create that division, and it also helps blend the scenes together too at the same time. I'm adding some shading to our molasses swamp. The ink I used was Crunchy Leaf, and that is Copic friendly, so I can ink right on over that. And then putting some celery stick ink over, kind of giving it a bit of an air over the swamp. Then I realized, why am I ink blending on paper? I have a glass mat here, which works a lot better. And now I'm adding the same celery stick to make some grass and moonstone for where the castle's going to sit. So kind of like the sky behind the castle. Blend that over towards the frosting section, and decided, why don't I move the frosting section over towards the sky for the castle, kind of get them set together. Now, I almost forgot the rainbow bridge, and there on the board is a shortcut, and so I had to put it on our board as well, and that was from All the Clouds, and I stamped that in jellyfish ink too, so that there are some things on this board that are lined in black and some that are not, and kind of balance that out between the marsh and the rainbow bridge and then the gumdrop mountains. All right, a little bit of green for the lollipop woods, some doe ink, D-O-E, like the deer, for the peanut brittle house, and also in the peppermint stick forest. I'm keeping everything pretty light, so it really just stays in the background. This is lemonade ink for the center area, kind of bring it down towards the peppermint stick forest, and that yellow is going to help bring out that sentiment, the sweet part that kind of gets lost on a white background. So this will help with that. And now another detail that I saw on one of the boards was peanuts around the peanut brittle house. And so I have a Zag Rider. Now these are very old markers. I don't know if they make these anymore, but this is a spring green, and I'm just making little squiggles as vines. And then with Fawn, I'm just putting 2 circles together to make little peanuts. I think I could go on and on with details, but I also don't want the board to be too busy. It is going to be kind of busy as it is, but so is Candyland. Well, now it is time to put everything together, and I'm going to start up at the upper right with Queen Frostine and her puffy cloud frosting. I'm using the Lawn Fawn glue tube so that I can move it around a little bit. Here is the peppermint stick forest, gluing all that on, and then I'm going to clip off the extra clouds and a little bit of her wings that are hanging over the side. And here is our peanut brittle house and the little boy and girl, and they are holding hands going into Candyland. So I'm going to try to get this little boy and girl to hold hands too. And then here is our lollipop woods going in, and a few leaves too, because they are like little trees, I guess. Put some glue on the back of the word sweet, and then add that. I'm clipping a little bit off of the swamp grass. Now this grass comes from Swan Soiree as well, and the little ice pops, I think, are the molasses cattails coming out of the swamp, and those are from Yeti or Not. So clipping off the other one as well, and I'm just gonna position those 2 up there, and now I'm gonna add the castle. So the candy castle, and it's a little bigger than other things, so it's going to be hanging off the top, but I wanted to make sure that enough of it showed that it looks like the castle. Then I'll put on the whipped cream dollops and some ice cream cones. Now the whipped cream dollops are from Thanks a Latte. Ice cream cones are from Village Shops. Now I forgot to give Queen Frostine a stick for her wand, so I quickly just stamped one up and I'm cutting it out so that she has something to hold on to, and then just glue that little snowflake to that. She kind of reminds me of Elsa from Frozen. So now she has her wand, and I'm going to clip off the top of the castle, but now with the peak off, I'm looking at it and decided to get my Copic multi-liner out and just draw in some castle-looking elements at the top so that it kind of looks like it steps there. Once I have that all set, I'll just kind of color it in to match the rest of it. Give it a little pink in the windows. Now I can put the plain pieces on the board. So I cut out 2 of the solid gingerbread men and 1 with the little features. I think it's funny how much they look like those plastic gingerbread men from the game, but the one with the features will be glued to the solid one, and then I'm going to cut a little bit of foam tape, and that will help it to move around the board, and then I'll place another solid gingerbread man underneath it so that'll keep it in place from underneath. I need to make sure that the foam is small enough that it will stay within the maze and not get caught anywhere. So here's the yellow piece all put together, and I put together the other gingerbread men just the same way. And now I'm going to glue the top panel to the bottom panel just with a small line of glue so that those gingerbread men can move in and out, so there's enough room for them behind the panel. I decided to keep this flat and not put any foam in between. I would have to cut that foam pretty thin in between the maze lines so that they would have room to move. The gingerbread men just slip through where I have a horizontal and vertical line. I can just get them wiggled in there and then place them where I want them to go. I'm going to slip them in all different places around the board, mainly just because it visually looks good to me, but we'll just say that some are winning and some aren't even close. So it looks like this blue guy is gonna get up to the castle there, the candy castle. Maybe he's stuck in the molasses swamp. Anyway, it's all set. All I need to do now is put some adhesive on the back of the panel and add it to a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch note card. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video today and that it inspired you to think about something memorable that you might want to recreate on a card. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye!